always have this conversation with my mum, to be honest, and I've still got 2 years after this season at Stoke. You know, everyone forgets I'm still on loan at Stoke, you know, and Trabzonspor has been good for me. But if I'm honest with myself, I think I want to come back to England. It's disgusting, man, to know that you was with someone, you know, she was my everything, and then all of a sudden she's gone. You know what I mean? There's been times, I remember I missed a penalty against West Brom for Stoke, and I said to myself, don't look on your Instagram. I think I had Twitter at the time as well. I said, don't look at your Twitter, don't look at your Twitter. I'm gonna look. Now, I remember training with some of these players, and I always say, when they ask me about, oh, how was it training with the first team? Who was the best player? I always say Cesc Fabregas. Because this guy, oh my days. But as soon as I turned 17, the first thing I said to my mum, it wasn't even, oh, let's buy a house or a car. It was, Mum, how do we get this orphanage going? Dad, how do we get this orphanage going? So I've signed the contract. And then a couple of days later, I'm getting a message saying, oh, you know what? I think Nuno wants to sell you. And I was like, what? I just signed, like, you got the right player or not? What's going on?
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to yet again another episode of the Beautiful Game podcast. As ever, I'm your host, Budge, joined by my faithful two co-conspirators, Dot and Dej. Gents, how are we doing?
I'm good, Budge. I don't think you're going to get away with it because it's your birthday today. So.
Love, bro. Love, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. How about you, Dej? How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. This is a guest that we've been trying to get on for a long, long time. So I'm happy that we finally delivered and we get to hear from the man himself. So I'm blessed, bro.
Of course. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Of course, Dej alluded to it there. We are again joined by a very special guest. We're in good company. Arsenal fans will remember him as a product of the famed Hale End Academy. He's an Arsenal man through and through like myself. So I've got love for him. I've watched him come up through the youth ranks. Of course, he being a striker, has bagged everywhere he's gone. He's been a real hit man. And you know what? Funnily enough, you're probably more likely to see pigs fly than to see him wear a pair of black boots. He wears but black, pink, blue, orange, white, the colours of the rainbow. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Benik Afobie to the platform. Welcome,
bro. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Benik, man. Obviously, we know you're a busy guy. Just off air, you was talking there about the fact that you're getting ready for a game tomorrow. So that you're taking a time out to chat to us, we appreciate it. Of course, we know that you're out in Turkey at the moment.
Yeah.
And I guess where we wanted to start off and kick things off is like, what's life like, man, out in Turkey?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me on. You know, I've obviously watched a few other guys go on before, and some interesting talks, and to hear how people get on with their lives, you know. So that's always been good. But out here in Turkey, it's different, man. It's different. It's good experience though, because I've always said I want to play abroad. You know, since I was a young kid, back in ends and stuff, I always said, you know, I want to have that 1 or 2 years abroad. So it's a good experience. And at the age of 27, I thought it was the right time. But it's different in a sense, being African, you know. Going to Congo, it's a bit more like Africa than Europe, even though it's in Europe, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Interesting, because we've seen a lot of players recently come to Turkey. Bright Asay Samuel, he's gone to Fenerbahce. Danny Rose is being linked with Trabzonspor. So what is it about Turkey that you think more and more players are gravitating towards it?
Do you know what, yeah? When I spoke to John Obi Mikel, because he signed for Stoke just before I came out here, and he was saying the fact that this Turkish league, the level's quite good. People think, oh, you're going there because it's easy, or it's like a retirement sort of thing, or the money's big. The level's really good. You saw Başakşehir Istanbul the other day, or a few months ago now. They beat Man United, didn't they?
Yeah.
We played them on Wednesday in the Super Cup final, and we beat them. So it just goes to show, because I think they're 12th this season in the league. So they've been like competing in the Champions League against Champions League teams. But back here, they're 12th, they're 13th. They've been getting beat left, right, centre. They lost 5-1 today. You know, so it just goes to show the quality of the teams here. And Obviously, there's a lot of teams that play in Europa League, that play in Turkish League as well, and the Champions League, as I just said. So the quality is good, and everyone always asks me, where does it rank between Premier League and Championship? I know you probably would have asked me that as well, but I'd say it's in between the bottom half of the Prem and the top 6 of the Championship.
Yeah.
That's challenging.
So it's still good standard. Most teams at that level, I think.
And would you say you've had to learn more about yourself since moving abroad? Like, has it challenged you in a different way than living in England?
Yeah, of course. You know, being in your comfort zone is always going to be easier. You know, I'm not saying, you know, when I was playing at Huddersfield, I was in my comfort zone, but it's more my comfort zone than being in Trabzon, where there's no nice restaurants. There's no, like, you know, Uber Eats, for example, like cinema. None of that is here, man. It's straight village. It's village living, and it's a good experience. It's different. And I've got the missus and kids here, so it's not too bad. And with the lockdown, everyone's at home basically anyway, all over the world. So you could be in the nicest place in the world, but you're not doing much anyway. So I feel like being out here has actually been better for me during the lockdown, because the lockdown here isn't as strict as in England. So I'm probably better off than a lot of you guys back home.
Do you know what, Benik? I wanted to ask you, you know, in situations like this, like Dej mentioned it earlier, where we're seeing more often now players going out to play in Turkey. And of course you've got your family there, you've got your missus and the kids. But do you, like, as players that come from another league, like, do you guys kind of form somewhat of a group, like, as a support network? Because not everyone who's gone out there, for example, has family out there, right? Not every player has kids, has a missus and whatnot. So although you might be playing for different clubs, because there's a familiarity that you guys are all British, you're all coming from the Premier League or coming from England, do you guys have like regular, I don't know, meetups or WhatsApp group or something, just to, as like a support network for the majority of you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that happens a lot, even for foreigners that come to England, you know, like, so there's a lot of French-speaking players in England that someone might come from Cameroon, the other guy might come from France, and they start to mingle and they become close like that. And it's the same for us coming here. We're the foreigners now. And obviously the Turkish boys are there, you know, that's like the core. And then there's the guys floating around, like there's a Portuguese, Argentinian, Brazilian group over there. There's me, Lewis Baker, you know, a few like Ekuban who plays for Ghana now. There's a few of us that click together. But you know what, yeah, to be honest, the translation team here, you know, the player liaison and that, they've been top notch from day one. From day one, you know, anything that you want, the car, the house. Oh, my son was born in October in England, but they got a private jet for them to come here, you know, passports being done within 2 weeks instead of 3 months, all this stuff. So like, you know what, they've looked after us like foreigners, like top notch. I couldn't say anything about it. So like, fair play to them, you know, because it must be difficult for people like me who've never been outside of England, and all of a sudden you find yourself bang, like you're in this city. It's not Istanbul, it's not, you know, it's not Paris, it's Trabzon. You know, some of you don't even know where Trabzon is. So like, it's very different, but at the same time, it's a good experience and I'm enjoying it, man.
Oh, that's dope, bro. 4 goals in 9 starts. As you mentioned, you just won a trophy as well. So like your loan expires at the end of the season. By the sounds of it, you look like you're enjoying it. So is that something you will probably extend?
To be honest, only God knows the future, man. I always have this conversation with my mum, to be honest, and I've still got 2 years after this season at Stoke. You know, everyone forgets I'm still on loan at Stoke, you know, and Trabzonspor has been good for me. But if I'm honest with myself, I think I want to come back to England. You know, but 4 months is a long time in a footballer's career, so anything can happen. You know, we changed like the weather. One day I'm like, oh, man, you know what? I miss England. When I'm on the phone, then the other days I'm like, you know what, man, I'm comfy. So like, to be honest, man, we're like kids. We're like kids, and that's me being like honest with you guys. And when you're scoring goals, or you're playing, or you're doing well, or training's gone well, you know, you could say to me, do this, and I'll be like, yeah, okay. But when things are not going great, you know, we're grumpy. We've always had things our own way. So like, footballers are spoiled, man. So I'm just taking it month by month. You know, I'm just trying to give myself the best chance to train well, because a lot of people forgot. You're probably going to ask me, we're going to move on to it a bit later about my injuries, you know. I've only been back for, a few, I'd say, 6 months now. And when you do an ACL, it takes ages. I saw Yannick Bolasy's one.
Yeah.
When he was talking about people expecting him to be back on it straight away. You know, he was saying about Van Dijk and that. I've done that injury twice. You know, I've done it with my left when I was 21 and when I was at Bristol, my right knee. So, like, it's not easy, man. It's not easy. People just expect you to be bang on it straight away. But them kind of injuries take, they say 18 months to 2 years to get to any sort of level.
So, Benik, how was the care in your comeback to injury? Because we spoke to Yannick and he was like, Everton, it was a bit generic. It wasn't a tailored program towards him. So how would you say your care was during the ACL injury?
You know what? The first time I did it, I'll go take you back to when I was 21. Seems like time ago now, man.
You're making us feel old as well, you know.
Seriously, man, the years go too quick, man. You know, I remember when the older players, the senior players used to be like, hey, man, you're 21. I can't believe it. You're so young. But when you get to 28, man, I was thinking, nah, but what's this guy talking about? But that's years away. I was thinking, I ain't worrying about that. But
goes like that.
Years creep up on you. But yeah, when I did my ACL the first time, I was 21. And I was no, sorry, tell a lie. I was 19. Wait, how old was I? I was 19. Sorry, I was 19. And I was on loan at Millwall with Kenny Jackett. And I was on loan, so I did my rehab back at Arsenal, and Arsenal had 3 ACLs in a row. Emmanuel Frimpong did it the year before. Conor Henderson did it the year before that in the youth, and I think someone like Fran Merida. So 3 players had done it. So like I was the 4th one. So I had the best care because they'd seen what they did right and wrong with their ones.
Okay.
And then they did everything right for mine. So I came back pretty strong, man. I came back well. Obviously, it took time to get back to any sort of level. But Arsenal took good care of me, man. And I came back and I've touched wood, never had any problems with that knee. And then the second one was when I was at Bristol, which was last season, beginning of last season. And I know we're going to talk about my career and how it's been going and stuff like that. But I'll fast forward it to the injury bit. And that was tough for me, man. Double tough. Obviously, you all know about my daughter passing, which was, you know, I wouldn't wish anything like that on anyone. So I started the season well at Bristol City, scored 3 and 5. I was enjoying my football again, you know, linking up with Casey Palmer, my boy.
And then, baller, proper baller.
He's a baller. And then done my ACL in training. And then luckily, Colin Lewin, who was the physio at Arsenal back then, he opened up his own clinic in Essex, where I'm from. So, because I was injured and then my daughter passed, I didn't want to be doing my rehab back at Stoke because I was on loan from Stoke and I was meant to be doing my rehab at Stoke. But I spoke to Stoke and said, listen, I want to go home. I want to be near my family. It's obviously a traumatic time for us. And thankfully, Colin took me in. So I worked one-on-one with Colin for 6 months. You know, so the guy who did my first ACL, he'd only opened a month before, you know. So, like, what about that for timing? It was a massive coincidence.
Wow.
It was plan, I don't know, but
God's plan.
Exactly, yeah. So I worked 6 months every single day with him, man. He knew my body. He knew what I like to do, what I don't like to do, how to push me, how to keep me motivated. And at the same time, I could cry on his shoulders, man, because I knew who he was. And I remember there was days when, I remember this time last year, was training at Leighton Orient training ground. And I remember one of my boys, one of my best friends, Samuel DeLucy, he came to watch me do my rehab. You know, I was running. This time last year, I started to run now, straight line running. And I remember turning and getting on the line, and I just started thinking about my daughter. And I was crying, but I didn't want Colin to see me. And my boy was like, remember this. Just remember this day. He said, let it all out. He said, he remembered it because I didn't stop. I ended up beating my time, you know, with the speed timing and stuff like that. But it was on the day that I wanted to quit because I was thinking about my daughter because it was still fresh. It was still only 2 months. It was 2 months. It was 2 months when she passed and stuff. So it was crazy. You know, people say to me, how'd you do it? I don't know how I do it. Obviously, I pray to God to give me strength, my family strength, having good people around you. To be fair, the teams I've played for, my teammates and stuff, have all been very, very good help. And I've had massive love, you know, but like, it's disgusting, man, to know that you was with someone, you know, she was my everything, and then all of a sudden she's gone. You know what I mean? Got to continue. Life's got to continue. I've got another one. Mrs. fell pregnant with another one. You know, and I can't be selfish. And I've got to get my knee right because I've got 2 kids who are counting on me. So if daddy's crying over the one that's passed away, what are we gonna be? Do you know what I mean? So like, it's a difficult one.
Mad pressure.
It's mad pressure, but at the same time, when this is all happening, I'm thinking, remember this. Remember your ACL. You don't want to be working today, but listen. That's why sometimes, you know, when fans get onto you or like, he's not. You need to understand some people are going through things that, you know, it's not always the mental health problem, but they're going through personal things that could be maybe distracting them, or they can't give their 100%, but they don't see that stuff. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, footballers are just humans, just like all of us, you know?
Yeah, so like, Benny, how do you process that? Because I remember the day Sky Sports News broke it, then I think the whole of football sort of rallied round you. Obviously, it's not just something that goes away. This is a continuing process. So what sort of things do you do to try and like manage your mental health or try and be that man of the family?
Pray. Straight pray. You know, I'm a big believer in God. And as I said before, getting the right people around you, first and foremost, you know, whether that's your partner, family, close friends, reading, it could be whatever it is for you, but you have to find what is the thing that keeps you going. I was lucky I had a daughter who was still alive at the time, and she was the pride for me at the time, you know, because she was only one. My daughter that was alive, Alba, and her older sister just passed away, but she's one, she ain't got a clue. So if daddy's moping around, mummy's moping around, grandparents are moping around, you know, auntie, uncles are all crying, and look, she'll be thinking, wow, this world's negative. Do you know what I mean? She's only one. So we had to sort of blag it a little bit when I was in front of her, because I don't want my 1-year-old seeing daddy crying all the time, mummy crying all the time. So that was my number one motivation. And then, as I said, my missus fell pregnant pretty quickly, you know, this time last year. She fell pregnant with my son now, who's 3 months old. Praise God. But so that was it. And I was injured at the time. So I just knew, listen, if I start moping around, I'm 27 years of age. If I start moping around, making people feel sorry for me and feeling sorry for myself, this knee ain't going to get any better. So as much as you want to cry, run, you can cry, but make sure you're running. You can cry, but make sure you're doing your strength work. Do you know what I mean? And I'm lucky enough that I'm blessed enough that mentally I'm quite strong when it comes to stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people, you know, people say to me, I don't know how you did it. As I said to you, I won't be able to do it. But somehow you get some sort of strength when you know it's not just about yourself that you didn't think you had. You know, so if this happened to me, if someone told me 3 years ago this will happen to me, I'll be like, nah, I'm gonna pack football in. That's me. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna have another child. I'm not gonna, and I got injured as well. No. Do you know what I mean? Oh, this manager's not playing me. No. That'll be me done. I'll you know, you start thinking that, but you're stronger than you actually think. When you put your mind to something, have good people around you, and genuinely believe like you're gonna, you know, like pass this like tough time.
I even saw some stats like online. I think you were one of the fastest in like the whole of England. So I think you were like 3rd or 4th kind of thing. Like, explain to us what, like, how did that happen? Because you were freshly off surgery, freshly off getting back to full fitness. So how did that happen? That's a miracle, basically.
Yeah, no, I was working. I think the wind was with me that day, to be fair. I was working well with Colin, man. Colin's a good guy. You know, Colin Lewins works with England, Arsenal for many years, and little by little, we were just getting better and better. There'll be days when my knee will be aching. I'll be like, Colin, why is it hurting today? Everything was just Colin's fault. Colin, why this? Why that? Nah, Colin. But eventually, you know, listening to the right people, I just got stronger and stronger. And I actually came back and got better times than I did before I got injured, you know? So sometimes these injuries gives you time to work on little things that you probably neglected because you thought, I'm fine. Or you were playing so many games, you're not working on some sort of strength, other strengths that you could be working on. So I think it was just a bit of both, you know, a bit of determination, a bit of good training.
You know what, Benik? I want to ask you a question that is a bit of a random one, and it's one that I've never asked before, but I'm really interested to find out, right? So, of course, just then we were talking about that very traumatic experience and the fact that you were going through injury and rehab and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So you spoke about the fact that, you know, you're doing this not just for yourself, it's for your family, your missus and your children and whatnot. And of course, like I remember like reading Lois's, basically her account of how everything sort of transpired and whatnot. And honestly, I was like speaking to my missus about it and whatnot. And it was just really, really powerful, really, really motivational. And we actually did our own research and then decided to donate to a charity to Nest.
Thank you, man.
After hearing your story.
I love for that, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah? Thank you for inspiring me, honestly. But I guess what I wanted to know is, what did that whole experience and that period of time do for your relationship between you and your missus? Because in my mind, I think two people going through something like that, it must, although you've been together for some time, you've had children together, but an experience like that must bring you even closer together, if that makes sense. Like, it must do something different in terms of the relationship. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. And you know what? Yeah, you say that and you'd think that, but sometimes it's make or break. You know, I've seen articles online when a couple lose their child. I think it's something like over 50% divorce eventually.
Wow.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
I've done the approach that you just mentioned. We've got closer. You know, we've had whatever, like some days you're stronger than me, some days I'm stronger than you. But overall, it's brought us together. You know, sometimes I'm at home and I'm just thinking, she's so strong, to end up getting pregnant again, you know, going to these scans. Don't forget, I know even Sturridge was talking about when he was going for scans and he couldn't even go into the room because of lockdown. My missus was the same. My missus was the same. So bear in mind, she's lost a child and she's going for scans and she's seeing the baby on the, sonographer showing her the baby, and she's in her head, she's thinking, I remember when I was going for Amora and I'm not even there. Do you know what I mean? So like, when she's coming out and she's crying, I want to squeeze her even more. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And because we've lost a child, she's scared as well. Like, is this kid's beating a heartbeat all right? Is it, all this stuff. So like, it gave me more love for her for sure. You know, I respect her as well to carry another baby a year after that and to give birth and to be that strong. You know what I mean? You've got to be some sort of woman. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, as I said, we have people that carry us. We carry each other. Some days someone's stronger than the other. There's no competition, but for sure it's made us stronger. And I found a new sort of love for her, for sure.
No, big up yourself, bro.
Thank you, man.
Benik, what role does the club play during these, times of hardship? Because us as fans, the training ground, football match, press conference about tactics, repeat. So behind the scenes, what do the club do to help you?
You know what? It depends what kind of person you are. Whether some people are like, listen, I need 2 weeks off. If this, like, these are rare situations, not many footballers lose their child while they're playing. But when stuff like this happens, family problems, obviously, I'll be open to say this. Jordan Ibe, one of my close friends, has said he's going through mental health problems and stuff. And I know that Derby has been great with him, giving him some time off, understanding what he needs, what he doesn't need. Does he need to be spoken to? Does he want to help with a psychologist? So, you know what? I think modern day footballers, are getting more treatment and help from clubs than a few years ago. Like probably a decade ago, it'd be like, oh, man up, or listen, we're human. Footballers are humans and they need to be fully functioning properly to get the best out of them, whether that's on and off the field. So like, I think with my own experience, the clubs were great with me. Bristol were great with me because I was at Bristol at the time. Stoke, parent club, they were brilliant with me as well. So I can only say thank you to them, really.
Yeah, you mentioned Jordan Ibe. He's someone that's been on the podcast and spoke a bit about the issues that he's faced. And I wanted to talk about online abuse, social media abuse. We've seen it this week come up quite a lot. Axel Twenzebi, who's a fellow countryman of yours, Romain Sawyers from West Brom. How do you manage this as someone being in the main media spotlight? How do you manage those trolls inboxing you pictures of gorillas, monkeys, stuff like that? How do you do it?
Do you know what? To be honest, I've been through too much in my life from a kid, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. You know, like it's an old saying, whatever, but like whatever these people say, they're the same people, the same person that will hammer you online, absolutely batter you, get so many retweets. They'll see you in Nando's and they'll be crying, shaking.
It's true.
Benny, we had Micah Richards on the podcast and he was saying, look, I'm made of stern stuff. I'm strong, but eventually these words get to you. You're a human being. Eventually, do they break you?
Yeah, everyone's different. And you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I've been at home sometimes. I've messaged my boys or my missus or my mum and dad. I'm like, oh, like, look what these lot saying. How can they say that? Oh, man, you know what? You start thinking about it. But when it's all said and done, it don't really mean anything. Do you know what I mean? What matters is what your family think, what your coach thinks, and your teammates think, and what you think about yourself. That's what I think, to be honest. It doesn't mean you don't want to be loved by fans, because everyone's human and everyone wants to be liked. And I think that's what my problem has been over the years. You know what I mean? Because I'm a genuine nice person, when something went wrong, I'll be like, what? Like, I'm a nice person, do you know what I mean? So I've had to train myself to kind of not worry or care about what people think. Do you know what I mean? But like, Richards is right. You know, eventually, if someone keeps saying something, you'll be thinking, you might even start believing it. But then at the same time, as I've seen Daniel Sturridge saying as well, you can't, that's a distraction. If you want to be great in something, you can't be putting your happiness in what someone else is saying, whether it's good or bad. You know, you can't be like up and down. So if someone's saying good stuff, you know, you said about the social media abuse. Yeah, okay. But then sometimes you get loving. And if you start believing the hype, you stop working hard. If you start believing the negative stuff, you might not work hard. You know, so you're never going to win. So all you got to do is just try and remember how you got there and the people that actually matter in your life, what they think.
Do you know what, Benik? I wanted to ask you, after a game, can you like forecast and tell the kind of sentiment that you're going to get on social media? So, like, for example, obviously, if you score a hat trick and get a match ball, you know on Twitter, like,
on that social straight away,
like everyone's gonna be onto you.
You're trending.
You get what I'm saying? But in the opposite sense, when like, can you kind of get a feeling
when you miss the penalty?
Yeah. Like, can you tell like, okay, I'm gonna get slammed on socials today? Can you always?
You know what? Yeah, there's been times I remember I missed the penalty against West Brom for Stoke, and I said to myself, "Don't look on your Instagram." I think I had Twitter at the time as well. I said, "Don't look at your Twitter. Don't look at your Twitter." I'm gonna look. It's like this. You know what? It's like there's an angel there and there's a demon. There's a devil there. This one's saying, "Don't look. It's negative. You need positivity in your life." You know, the angel's saying all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's a devil there saying, "Go on." Just look what they're saying. Go on. And you're thinking to yourself, you know, you're gonna get hammered. You're gonna get battered. You know, you've had a stinker. You've lost us the game. Don't look. But there, you know, my eyes there just looking. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, but I've grown up from that stuff now, man. So I don't really look anymore. But before, it would ruin my week. It'd ruin my week. I'm talking like I don't even want to do anything because people are saying stuff about me on social media. So now I've got to the position now is if I genuinely gave 100%, you know, like I feel to myself, I've done everything I could, you know, left no stones unturned on the pitch. I thought, you know what? It just wasn't my day today. Then I don't really care, man. You know, and the managers see that as well. You know, sometimes as fans, you see players get picked. You think, oh, why is he getting played? But he's dead. You know what I mean? 100%. They give 100%. And that's what managers want, really, don't they? They want your players to give 100%. You know, I'm too old now to be worrying about what people think. I've been through hell and back, you know, personally. So like everything that I've been through, I don't think something that someone says on social media is going to hurt me as much as I've been hurt in the past. If that makes sense? Yeah. It's not a sob story. It's not like, oh, I feel sorry for me here. I'm just saying I've been through way worse than someone just calling me crap a few times. You know what I'm trying to say? So like I'm a bit different in that situation. You know, like my injuries, you know, like moving up and down the country from the age of 17. Mate, I've been everywhere, man. You give me a city, I'll tell you where it is.
Well, for traveller.
Yeah, so talking about being up and down, obviously you started out at Arsenal, signed your pro contract. When is the right time to flee the nest? Because you see a lot of youngsters stay at Arsenal and think, you know what, I'm going to sit on the bench or play in the reserves. But you get some bold ones like Flo Belogan. He's someone that's being linked with moves away from the club because he wants to play football. So for you, when is the right time to say, you know what, I want to leave. I need to move on with my career. Arsenal, you've been great for me, but I need to make decisions for myself.
You know what? Yeah, everyone's different. So it all depends on your positioning and who's ahead of you. For example, the striker that you just mentioned there, Belugan, he's good. I've seen him play. And I think it's the right decision for him to leave because the captain is a number 9. The other number 9's top goal scorer this season, Lacazette. And Eddie Nketiah is a couple of years older than him, who's also done well. You know what I mean? So if you, as you said, want to keep waiting for your chance, before you know you're 23, and managers will start picking players that have got more experience in the Championship, that have got 100 caps to them, 100 appearances, to their name. Do you know what I mean? Instead of the guy from Arsenal who's played for England under-19s. And that was kind of what happened to me as well. You know what I mean? I've played with some top players. You know, I've played with some top players at youth level, and I thought, he's gonna go the whole way. If it's not Arsenal, it's gonna be Everton. If it's not Everton, it's gonna be West Ham. You know, but before you know it, they got to 23, 24, 3 appearances, league appearances at any level. No one's gonna trust you.
But another way to look at it though, like we've seen Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood. Sometimes you can get lucky by just sitting around and waiting for your chance. There's 1 or 2 bad injuries, then all of a sudden you're thrown into the spotlight.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree with you. But if you look at the percentage, how many players have done that?
Yeah.
Rashford's one. I think Rashford's one of the best strikers in the world now. I love him to bits, played against him, good player. But Rashford had 4 injuries when he played that Europa League game at the time. He only made the bench because there was 4 injuries in one position.
Yeah, it's rare.
Do you know what I mean?
It's very rare.
And then he bagged the race against us, innit? We gave him a career, bro. We gave him a career, bro.
I didn't want to mention that.
I was waiting for that. No,
but 4 injuries for one position, centre forward. Do you know what I mean? 4 injuries. How many times is that going to happen? It's not happened at Man City. It's not happened at Liverpool. It's not happened elsewhere. So, like, he took his chance, and he's, as I said, one of the best in the world. But you've got to start thinking realistically. You don't want to get to 23, 22, 23, and got less than 10 appearances, you know?
Yeah, but Benik, how important is luck in football? Because I was in my group chat the other day, and let me give you the example. Mason Mount, he broke through at Chelsea. Frank Lampard loves him. You know, it's worked with him at Derby. All of a sudden, Frank Lampard is sacked. Thomas Tuchel comes in. And the first game, Mount is on the bench. And Mount is probably thinking, look, I need to prove myself again. So how important is being at the right place at the right time in football?
It's everything. Look at goal scorers. Right place, right time. There's so many strikers. I thought this guy is dead. But he's always at the right place at the right time, and he scores. So I think making a career is sort of the same sort of thing. Right place at the right time. And I honestly believe, for example, if I was coming through Arsenal's system now, at the 18, I would have got a chance. You know, I'm talking about myself here. Like, if I was 18, you know, before my injuries or anything, and the current crop now, and the first team players now, I think I would have got a chance. The same way these lot will be getting a chance. You know, it was tough back then with, you know, Van Persie scoring 30 goals here. All these players were top players. You know, I remember training with some of these players, and I always say, when they ask me about, how was it training with the first team? Who was the best player? I always say Cesc Fabregas. Because this guy, oh my days. There was one time in training, someone had the ball, they passed it to him in centre mid, and he's acting like he's going to switch it. And I was in between 2 centre halves. I was in between both of them. But I was expecting him to switch it as well. And he just, out of nowhere, he just reversed it into me.
Or like Thiago, like the Thiago passes.
Yeah, one of them Thiago passes. And he just shouted, turn. And I was clean through and goal. And I thought to myself, you know what? That's why these strikers bag 40 goals a season, you know? Because I didn't do no movement. I didn't ask for the ball. Because they always say the run comes before the pass. You've been taught that. Do you know what I mean?
The run,
then the pass comes. But he's so good. The pass came, no run came, and I was throwing goal. You know what I mean? So I said, no.
Scary player.
These guys here make strikers get 40 goals. These kind of midfielders, you know. So like, yeah. So I just think about being at the right place at the right time is key, but also the main thing is taking that chance, because you can be at the right place. We all say this about Mount. Oh yeah, Frank Lampard loved him, but my man's doing his thing. Do you know what I mean? He's like everyone always. Oh yeah, Mount this. Oh, he's not
consistent. He's very consistent.
He's not doing tricks like Grealish. He's not a dribbler like Madders, because them boys are cold. But Mount's doing his thing as well, you know. He's playing at a big Chelsea football club, and he's doing his thing. You have to respect him, man. So like Lampard, okay, Lampard likes him, whatever, but he's backing it up. You can't say anything, man.
Facts. Well
taking
said.
his chance.
So
taking
like,
his chance.
Go on, boy. Go on.
I was gonna ask you, Benik, like looking at things on a more holistic perspective, how do you see the fact that, so you've obviously played at loads of different clubs. You said like, you know, cities off the back of your hand, man, because you've traveled, you're well traveled. So, like, what perspective do you look at your various loan spells with? Like, is it a great opportunity to play in different systems with different managers, different teammates, and so an opportunity to be really rounded? Or would you say it's like it's been a bit disruptive to your development and your progress, and you know, maybe staying at one club for a longer period of time would have helped you progress in a different way? What's your perspective on it?
That's a very good question, you know, and it's a bit of both. You've basically answered it for me, because there's times when I say to myself, nah, I'm serious. I was 17 when I went to Huddersfield, 17. And I had to live by myself. Huddersfield, okay, be honest, it's not the greatest place in the world. It's compared to London, you know. And I think to myself, growing up, played with some top players at the time. We went 24 games unbeaten, lost in the playoff final in front of 70,000, and got man of the match 5 times in a row, scored 8 goals, 10 assists. Like, you think, 17, to get this experience at League One is unbelievable. But then I look at my other loans and I think to myself, I'm going there and because I don't want to play reserve football, but then it's a different system. I'm not really comfortable. The manager just took me because I'm the kid from Arsenal, but he doesn't really care about my career because he'd rather play his players that are there for the whole, like, 2-year contracts. You know what I mean? So, like, it's a bit of both. And I've had a lot of unsuccessful loans, not because I was so bad or not because they hated me, just for the fact they just knew, he's going in May. You know what I mean? He's going in May, or like, he's just a young lad. He needs the experience and he's just this or that. You know, he's not for me and stuff like that. So I sometimes wish that I didn't go on some of these loans. But at the same time, I don't have any regrets because I've grown up a lot, man. I've seen a lot of good things. I've seen a lot of bad things. And it's helped me assess people more off the field. I know different types of characters. And I always say I'm very good at reading people now, you know, because I've just seen so many different players, so many different managers, like nothing. I've never seen anything different nowadays because I know how different type of people are. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I wanted to go back a bit. We spoke about Arsenal and about the current crop of players. Obviously, we've got Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Reece Nelson, Joe Willock. There's a whole host of players. What do you make about this current crop of players that Arsenal are producing?
They're good, man. You know what they're doing, yeah? They're playing with no fear. I think my lot and the few years after were playing thinking, you know what? I'm playing for big Arsenal. Let me play safe. But these lot, they don't care. They don't care, you know. I see Saka and he's the main man now. He's one of my favourite players at Arsenal. You know, I still obviously follow Arsenal. And I just think...
Yeah, no, you were saying before that, we need to do this after the game. After the game.
I just think these kids are playing with no fear, man. They're just enjoying it and taking their chance when it comes. That's the difference.
Benny, just to interject, do you feel that that's maybe due to the new expectation at Arsenal? Whereas when you were breaking through, it was Champions League football, world-class players littered all over the pitch, Wenger ball, balling out, putting teams to bed. Like, do you feel maybe now there's less pressure on the young players to come in and bang?
Yeah, to be honest, because you're not going to see many Liverpool youth players coming in now. You're not going to see many Man City. All right, Phil Foden's done his thing, you know. Curtis Jones has done his thing at Liverpool. But that's the same as the Jack Wilshers of this world, you know, Hector Bellerin. There's going to be a few players that always break in. But I think now the expectations that you said is not like, oh, listen, we got to go win the league. We have to win the league. Arsenal haven't won the league for many years now. So these players are coming in and they're showing, you know what? These boys ain't doing anything. I can be better than them, or I'm as good as them. And they've come through the door, you know, and they've said, I'm here now. They've arrived and they've taken their chance, man. It's not like they're playing for a team that's bottom of the league. They're still playing for a top 8 club, consistent. Do you know what I mean? So, like, they're still doing unbelievably well. And they've taken their chance, and fair play to them. I just think they're playing with no fear.
Interesting one. Do you know what, Benik? I wanted to ask you a bit about the international scene. And obviously, being an African man, you know, representing DR Congo, earlier on you were speaking about your mum. So I know that you're a family guy, and obviously family is very important to you. So I wanted you to take us back to that period of time where you decided to play for Congo on an international scene after obviously playing in the youth levels for England. What was the feeling like from your family, from your mum? Like, what was it a very, you know, like we always laugh and joke about when you've got results day, for example, and you're so proud, like, oh, my son's done this, my son.
Nice son.
So was that like, was it a similar kind of situation when you decided to play for Congo? Like, was it a,
you know what, they never forced me to do anything, you know. Obviously push me if I want to be pushed or if I'm good at something, but I have business plans. I've got foundation charities in Congo, and it was simple as I thought to myself, if I want this to be big and help a lot of children in Congo, it'd be better if I played for them, because it's not like the guy that is in Europe that thinks of Congo, little Congo. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I'm actually playing for them, it means more to the people, because I love children, man. I've got a foundation now for orphans, and I've always wanted to do them sort of things. Since I was the age of 12, I went to Congo, and this is how the story actually started. I went to Congo as a 12-year-old with my parents and my sister. My other 2 siblings weren't born yet. And as you do, a 12-year-old, the kid that plays for Arsenal, you know, my cousins were there. We're playing football. It got to about 6 o'clock, and in Africa, it gets, some of you might know, it gets dark early. So 6 o'clock, a 12-year-old, my mum saying, Benny, come back in, yeah? So, like, obviously saying bye to the kids and that. I've gone back in. I said to mum, like, how come them kids are still playing there? You're not going to let me play? Like, why are they not going home? And my mum replied to me saying, that is their home. Like, they're just kids that play on the street, sleep underneath the trees, nothing. These times we're playing, you know, they've got their clothes on and like they're smiling, they're hugging me. We're playing football, massive smile on their face. But when it's time for me to go home to have my dinner, get a shower, get in bed in a comfortable hotel where we were staying, they're just there. And I said to myself, Mum, you know what? When I turn pro, all these orphans, I want to help them out, and we're going to open up an orphanage. And my mum's response was, yeah, well done. God will bless you. She just thought, he's only 12. He's just saying that. But as soon as I turned 17, the first thing I said to my mum, it wasn't even, let's buy a house or a car. It was, Mum, how do we get this orphanage going? Dad, how do we get this orphanage going? So that's always been in my head, you know? So with all that in my head, I thought to myself, you know what? When I get to the time to play for the national team, if they want me to be serious and they want to take what I'm doing with Congo more seriously, then it's better for me to play for the national team, so they can see I'm actually one of them. You know, I'm not someone from afar trying to do something because he thinks he's better than the people of Congo. That's so simple as that, really.
Dope, man. That's dope.
Very dope. Very, very dope.
Big up yourself, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can see you're a man of charity, because I remember even at Bournemouth, you got an award for community work. So how important is it for you to like give back and not forget your roots? Because I think the current crop of players are more socially aware than ever. We see players like Jordan Henderson, Troy Deeney forming these committees. Marcus Rashford, how can I forget, of making change? So how important is it to you that football players don't just play football, they actually make an impact by using their platforms?
Because a lot of footballers come from nothing. You know, it's a working man's sport. You know, we've been following it since the ages of 4, 5. I grew up in Dagenham and I lived on top of a chicken shop. Imagine.
Wow.
I lived on top of a chicken shop from the age of 5 till 15. So for 10 years, we grew up on top of a chicken shop. And we come from nothing. I'm not saying we were broke. You know, my mum was a nurse and my dad was a painter and decorator. So they were working, you know, they still put food on the plate for us and stuff like that. But really and truly, didn't have footballers' money. So to come from nothing and to have something, a lot of these people, a lot of these younger players, not even just players, younger people in general, can relate to us because we've come from that sort of place. So why can't we help them to do whatever they want to do? Some people might not make it in football. Some people might not even want to do football, but they want to be successful. So why can't we help them try and be successful as well? You know what I mean?
No, definitely, bro.
And also being a Christian, you know, being humble, trying to be humble, trying to live like the best sort of person you can be and stuff like that. That's a given. That's automatic. You know, whether I was a superstar or if I was in the street with them Congo boys, I still want to be like that, you know, trying to be humble. But on the bigger picture for footballers, it's not just about, oh, I've got this for my family. It's about the environment we come from, man. You know, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you know, we don't take our money to the grave. We don't take our Premier League titles to the grave when it's all said and done. Like, the world continues without us. The world continues. So, like, really and truly, it's about trying to get the world, you know, in a better place, really and truly, because we're nothing, really.
Benik, I'm actually changing my question. I was originally going to answer about Bournemouth and Jack Wilshere, but I'm going to hold on to that because I actually want to ask you something because you made me have a light bulb moment. So, but obviously you give back to your community. But as a footballer, do you feel under pressure to give back due to, you know, the media saying footballers don't do enough, or, you know, we've got people in the government saying that footballers don't give back enough? So as a baller, do you feel I'm kind of giving back with my heart, but also I give back because I'm under mad pressure?
Not really, to be honest. We're not really under that much pressure, you know. All these players that are doing stuff, you know, as you said, Troy Deeney, Hendo, Rashford, they're doing it off what they want to do, because there's a lot of players you don't hear anything about. They might even be giving more.
Wilfred Zaha, for example, who gives...
Do you know what I mean? He doesn't really talk... Wolf doesn't really talk about what he's doing, but he's doing a lot, you know.
Yeah.
I know that person. He's doing a lot. There's some other players that we might not even think they're doing anything at all, but they're doing even more than that. And the same way, there might be players who look like they're doing a lot, but they're not doing anything as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no real pressure, to be honest. No one actually... You know what? You probably get more pressure from your family asking for money than from the media. Do you know what I mean? So, like... So I don't think there's that much pressure, to be honest. Like, as we said before, about it's just words. People might say, oh, footballers don't do this, but footballers could be thinking, I'm not going to be the first one to do it. Why should I give money to that school? Someone else went to that school as well. Why should it be me? So there is selfish footballers, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of caring footballers that might not want the media attention. They live look, I'm quite private. Like,
yeah, you don't do much interviews. Yeah, you don't do much interviews.
I don't do much interviews.
Nah, bro.
I'm
quite myself, bro.
You should be feeling privileged, you know. I don't do much interviews apart from after games, man. Just I used to think I want to be.
Why is that the case? Is that because you felt maybe the media wanted to twist your words, or they could maybe have an agenda against you, or are you just private? Because when I see pictures or I see dressing room banter, you're always in the thick of it. You seem like an outgoing person, but
yeah,
as you mentioned,
you're a good talker.
Yeah, good talker. Yeah, bro.
I'm on bands.
Yeah.
I'm on bands.
Yeah, so why don't you talk to the media?
I'm a joke, man.
Yeah, so why don't you do? Yeah, so why don't you do like the media sort of thing?
Like you said, man, I don't think it's authentic. You know, sometimes you go on there and you just give them like answers that they want you to say and stuff like that. You know, I'd rather do stuff like this, man. This is real. You know, like I'm thinking to myself, like, what else you got for me? Do you know what I mean? This is my sort of life, seriously. No. And I feel privileged to come on the show, man, and talk to you guys, because I don't really talk much and people don't know much about my story. About obviously the main story is probably about my daughter, my injuries and stuff like that. But like even coming to Turkey, you know what I mean? Like, no one even knows how I'm getting on here, apart from my family and friends who message me every day, because I'm quite private, man. you know what? I think it's just, I've never been too flashy. Got nice things, you know, I like obviously a nice watch or whatever, good car and stuff like that. But I'm not that flashy. I don't really care that people are seeing what I'm doing or not. You know what I mean? That's the reason. I don't refuse them. I just don't request them. I know some players ask their agents, oh yeah, can you get me this? Can you get me on this? But I'd rather be at home just vibing with my boys or my family, man, to be honest. Playing FIFA and that.
No, that's dope, bro, man. I really respect that. Yeah, I think Dot wanted to ask about Jack Wilshere. So.
Yeah, so obviously he's back playing football. He's at a club that you've played for, obviously under Jason Tindall. I watched the game yesterday, he came on and he kind of changed the game. He played really well. So how good of a player is Jack Wilshere? Because we've seen him, you know, hampered by injuries.
Yeah. You know what, yeah? I'm not saying this because he's one of my best friends, but Jack's so good, he's now underrated. Everyone thinks he's overrated, you know, like players say, he's overrated, he's had injuries. But I'm starting to think he's underrated now because this guy can do anything and everything. He could have played at the highest level. I'm talking Barcelona, Real Madrid, and I know people are going to say I'm being biased, but I'm not. This guy is cold.
No, he is. You know what's funny? Cold. I used to play at Crystal Palace, like under 15, 16 level. And we had some tournament in Coventry. And I will never forget the day. Night tournament. Crystal Palace quarterfinals. We lost, I think it was 2-0 or 2-1. Who scored both of the goals? Jack Wilshere. Before the game, the manager was like, listen, he said the player's name. I want you to keep a leash on Jack. He's going to be the main trouble. That game, he just ripped us to pieces.
From early, bro. We used to call him Wriggler from the age of 10. Because he just used to get the ball and just run with it. We used to go on tournaments. I remember was at one tournament in Belgium, a tournament called Beerbeck, and was playing against Anderlecht. Lukaku was playing. He was already 6'3", but yeah, he was playing. He was playing. And I remember Jack, I was obviously playing up front. And Jack would just get the ball from the keeper and just turn and just start running. And we used to have bear fights, me and him, because he was so greedy. Like, you wouldn't think it, because you know he's not obviously a centre mid, but back then, you're young, aren't you? You're playing against your own age. And it was too easy. So he'll just go around everyone. And I'd be going, Jack, no pass. No pass. But he was so cold, honestly. And the years kept going, just kept getting better and better. Started to play up again. 5 years up. Before you know it, he's training with the first team. Best player, like, nah. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it wasn't something that just happened overnight. He's always been that good, to be honest. And people say to me, but, because obviously I'm a close friend of his, people say to me, how come he's always injured? He's not living right. Because they've seen him with cigarettes a couple of times. This guy has got a gym in his house. He lives correct. No water. He's got his missus, eats proper food, like healthy. He cooks himself. He doesn't do anything. Obviously, he can drink here and there like the normal man, but everyone thinks of him as being some sort of party boy. I ain't been to a club with him for like 3 years, to be honest with you. So he's no party boy. He doesn't even enjoy it anymore. No alcohol, really. No cigarettes. That was just on a holiday 2 times. You know what I mean? And obviously, don't get me wrong, he's done his mistakes in the past, and you know, you grow up. You know, it's hard when you're England's golden boy. Which golden boy hasn't messed up? You know, when the media put pressure on you like that. So I just think that he's been so unlucky with the injuries. It's probably the way he plays and the way his body is. He's so bow-legged. You see his kids now. Yeah. His kids are bow-legged as well. He's got a 1-year-old who's starting to kick the ball, and he's bow-legged. And you're thinking, oh, this guy is going to be a player. You know, so like, it's the way he plays, I think, and just inviting challenges, the way his body is, previous injuries, you know, always carrying a little bit of something, because, for example, Harry Kane got injured with his ankles the other day, but he was already having problems with ankles the last couple of years. So he lives correct, Harry. I know him really well. So it doesn't mean, oh, he's not living right because his ankles are not. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's not how it works, you know, and sometimes people don't see that, but Jack is dedicated. And I'm just pleased for him to be back at Bournemouth, going back to your question, because he's had his offers. He could have went to other countries for more money, but he's hungry, man. He feels like he's got unfinished business there. We spoke about it a few weeks before he went there, and Bournemouth have got a great chance of going back up. So it's a win-win. He's 6 months. If he doesn't like it, he's not tied down. If he does like it, they go up. You can sign and say, look what I've done for you guys. You know what I mean? So it's just about getting his name out there and getting games under his belt again. Because the problem is, people think he's not fit. Yeah. That's the only reason why
it's the stigma that people carry in their head. Yeah.
So if he plays 20 games, does well, gets a few assists, few goals like he did the other day, I'm telling you now, the likes of the Evertons and that will be calling him. Maybe even Aston Villa, because they're doing well now and they like them kind of players, you know. So I'm sure he'll be back in the Premier.
100%. You know what, Bennett? We can't invite you to come on the pod without asking you the customary questions. Of course, we've been speaking about things on the field and your career, but I've got to ask you the 1A and 1B question, and that is, at the moment, what is the most played song on your playlist? What's your go-to tune? What are you feeling more than anything? That's part A. And part B is if you're stepping out to a function now, right? You've got a child minder to look after the little one. You're on a date night with a missus. Yeah. What is your choice of crepe? What's your trainers? What are you stepping out?
Oh,
yeah. I know you're a man of drip in it. You're a man of drip. We see the Instagram. we see the filter. We see all of that. So you gotta let us know.
Do you know what? Yeah. I like plain trainers. Plain.
Yeah.
And I bought some. I feel embarrassed saying this because I've never actually ever wore these trainers before, but I've bought Louis Vuitton trainers, but they're plain.
Yeah. What color are they?
I bet they're white.
All white.
Yeah.
All white. But that's dead. That's dead. So I'll give you another one. I'll probably say, you know what else I like? I like the Dior trainers. I like the
B22s.
Yeah. They're nice. They're nice.
They're clean. They're clean. Yeah. You know.
The bust down watch. And song-wise, what do I like? Do you know what? I like Lil Keys' new album, bruv. I'm on this American flex at the moment, man.
They're producing some.
Yeah, but my missus hates it, man. My missus is like, oh man, why are you listening to these songs? You're 28 now, bro. I'm still listening to these songs and that.
Come on, man. You have to enjoy your life.
So what about UK artists? Like, who from the UK is on your playlist that you're digging?
Eddie One, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what? I like everyone, bro. You know what I really like as well? Fredo. You wouldn't think I like him.
He just released a new project, isn't it?
Yeah, because he raps about the drip. He raps about the drip. And you're saying you're playing. You're saying you like the playing team.
I'm acting like I'm still 22, man. I gotta feel it, man. My hair's good in that, but come on, man. He's starting to Nah, but yeah.
Yeah, so Benik, I wanted to ask you, like, what does the future hold? You're 27, you're on loan at Trabzonspor. Obviously, you're due to go back to Stoke. Like, potentially, what do you want your future to hold? Do you think you've still got it in you to have another crack at the Premier League?
100%. You know what, yeah? Coming out here was a great move for me because, you know, with everything that happened, I wanted to get away from England for a year, and I thought this was the perfect time for me to come out here. And Eddie Newton was the manager, wasn't he? The one who brought me here. So he knew me from playing against them at under 13. He used to be Chelsea under 13 coaches. So he's known me for like over 10 years. And he told me to come out here and started the season. I was playing, done well. I think I had 3 in 6 or something like that. And then I had neck spasm where he got sacked. And then a new manager came in and I played 2 games under him. And then got neck spasm, which kept me out for 3 weeks, or 3 games, sorry. And then the other centre forward ended up scoring 2. And then, obviously, you know, when a team's winning, they can't really change the team. And then we've been winning ever since then. So there's been like 8 games where we've won 7 or something like that. And the manager just hasn't changed the team. So I've been coming on here and there, but listen, there's 20 games to go. And we're only at the halfway point, and I think I'll get back in the team and get a few more goals. But the plan is definitely to return back to England and give it another crack in the Premier, you know, because I don't think I got a fair chance, you know. We didn't really speak about my Wolves Everyone always asks me about the Wolves one, about how come you sign for Wolves and then sign for Stoke?
Yeah, like, it was a weird one, innit? Because they made it permanent.
Everyone asked me
Yeah, so what happened? Like, we got time for that, bro. We got time for that.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, bro.
I don't think I've actually ever told anyone, because I don't do interviews, obviously. So everyone thought at the time, if I played, because I was on loan to Wolves from Bournemouth, so I went in January. Do you remember, on deadline day?
Yeah.
The second time I was at Wolves, and everyone thought that I had to play a certain amount of games for Wolves to sign me or something like that, but it wasn't like that. Obviously, they were top of the league, so it was hard to break into the team. But I started 7 and got 6 goals, I think. So I done well. And then when the season finished, I got a phone call saying, "Oh, Wolves want to sign you." Obviously, they're in the Prem. I love Wolves. You know, I've enjoyed my time there the first time, second time as well with Nuno. So I've signed the contract. And then a couple of days later, I'm getting a message saying, "Oh, you know what? I think Nuno wants to sell you." And I was like, "What? I just signed. Like, you got the right player or not? What's going on?" He said, "Oh, now he's bringing in Jimenez."
Okay.
I'm thinking, who? At the time, Jimenez wasn't really a bad boy like he is now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, what? Yeah. And he said, he's saying that you're not going to play next season. And I said, but what if I'm training really well? I'm bang on it properly, training well, one of the best players in training. I still won't play. He said, no, you're not going to play at all. You're going to be with the 23s. I was thinking, right, this Nuno guy is raw. Like, what have I done to him? So the thing is, I left Bournemouth because I wasn't playing week in, week out. Obviously, Callum Wilson and Joshua King were playing at the time. And I'd gone from being at Wolves the first time as the main man, with Dicko Sacco doing my thing, to sitting on the bench, and it was like foreign to me. Do you know what I mean? So going to Wolves, even though I wanted to be at Wolves and we were in the Premier League, I didn't want to not play because he said Jimenez would be playing every game. He said that to me. And at that time I was thinking, this guy that's coming in, he's not really done anything yet, because obviously he's a joke now. He's a big player. But at the time he didn't do anything. So I was thinking, nah, no way am I going to sit on the bench. And he said you won't even be on the bench sometimes, stuff like that.
So was this face to face? Was this face to face or over text?
No, this is what the chief executive was telling me at the time.
So, but is this Benik? Is this football politics? Because this is what we spoke about with Yannick.
Politics.
When a club wants to get you out, they'll deal with you, basically.
They'll deal with you. now I say to myself, you know what? Maybe I should have just firmed it. Maybe they were just trying to lie to me. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, I'm thinking to myself, nah. This is mad. I was crying because I was coming on for 5-10 minutes at Bournemouth. Imagine not even coming on at all. Do you know what I mean? So at the time, Gary Warwick was the manager of Stoke. He just went into Stoke. And I'll be real with you guys. Wolves and Stoke are 35 minutes apart. And I lived in a place called Stafford, which was in between both of them. So Wolves is here, Stafford is here, and Stoke's there. So Stoke have come in for me. They just come down from the Premier League, right? They're telling me they're buying Tom Ince, James McLean. They're keeping hold of Joe Allen. They're keeping hold of Jack Butland. Ryan Shawcross is there. Like Badu and Dye, the centre mid. I'm thinking to myself, we're going to win the league but in December. You know what I mean? Go there, score 20 goals, go back with Stoke. And to be honest with you, Stoke have offered me more money than Wolves have. So it's ticking all the boxes. More money, don't have to move house. You know what I mean? A team that's going to be challenging, like as a striker, you want to score 20 goals. You don't want to be going to a team where it's going to be like, So the pictures there, I'm thinking to myself, I'll do it now. So I said, no brainer. Gary Rowe, met my dad, met myself. Everything was smooth. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why. So I could have stayed at Wolves, but I thought to myself, no, let me go play, enjoy my football for a year or more money and don't have to move house. It sounds like a no-brainer, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, win-win. That's a win-win.
So then I went to Stoke and we were dead. We were bad, man. We were bad.
I remember that. I think the first game of the season was against Leeds or something. And I think that, and I think Jack Butler made a mistake.
We were dead.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like disjointed. You had like a lot of names, but it didn't really click.
It was like, we were like that. We were like that for, saying that, we weren't even, I think we were like 7th or something. 8th, 9th. And then I think we got to about 10th, and then Gary Rowick got sacked in January. But up to then, I think I scored 6 goals. I did start well. Yeah. And then Nathan Jones came and he had his own ideas, really, and then it just didn't work. I found myself playing 5-10 minutes here and there. And to be honest, when the season finished, they shipped me out to Bristol, but I wanted to leave. But I was the top goal scorer, you know? And I got a lot of stick from the fans. Like, oh yeah, we bought this guy, he's useless, but I was top goal scorer. You know, you're saying all this stuff, but I finished the season as top goal scorer and you all want me out. You know, but that's what it is, man. Football's like that. And listen, there's been, I've got so many stories that it's definitely for another day, but like,
yeah, we definitely got to get you on again, Benik. When you get that move to the Prem, when you get that move to the Prem,
I'll be on
get that interview.
It's gotta be done. It's gotta be done, man. Honestly, Benik, thank you, bro. That's
love, bro. Love.
It's been a pleasure, man. The time's just run
away.
I
know, man.
It was
time flies.
What? It's 12. It's 12 o'clock in Turkey now.
Yeah, but I'm not up till 12, man. These guys do anything. We do whatever we want here. Man.
Yeah, because I was wondering. I was wondering, it's like 12 a.m. in Turkey. You got a game tomorrow and you're up.
Nah, lying, man. We got a lion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Don't have to be downstairs till 1 o'clock.
Is it? What? Calm.
Okay. Decent, man. Decent.
Nah.
Well,
listen, it gets about 1 o'clock sometimes. It gets to 1 o'clock sometimes. And I'm like, sometimes I'm sleeping early and I go to the toilet or something. And I hear next door, my teammates are playing music, like having a rave or something. There's like 3 of them. I'm thinking,
crazy.
That's the difference between English cultures and Turkish cultures.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Congo national team as well.
Yeah.
I remember playing a game for Congo as well. And next door, loud music, Congolese music, 4 a.m.
Crazy.
But that's the culture, man. They're different. They're different with it.
Exactly that, man.
You learn.
Exactly that. Bruv, honestly, Benik, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've covered so much in this short space of time, and it's been good fun. I know we've all enjoyed it, and
me too, man.
Of course, appreciate that, man. And obviously, everyone that's tuning in is going to enjoy it as well, most definitely. But we're going to leave it there. We're going to call it a day. Just a reminder for all of you that haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube, it's the Beautiful Game Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, just take a second. Look down below right now, like the video, subscribe, make sure you stay up to speed with all of our content, all of our interviews and so on and so forth. On Twitter, it's @pod_TBG. On Instagram, it's @pod_TBG. I think that's pretty much it, Dot.
Yeah.
Have I covered it all? Sweet.
Yep.
Until next time, guys.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, boys.
Enjoy your day, man.